Some of our next guest awards include being named one of Route 100's most influential African Americans of the year, receiving a Shorty Award for Best in Healthy Living, and being included on the Future 15 list by Essence. Women's health advocate Jessamyn Stanley is here to talk all things wellness and body positivity, and she's diving a bit deeper on what the future of fitness really looks like. This is Advocate Now. Jessamyn, I absolutely love the topic of wellness, so I am especially thrilled to have you with us today. Thank you for joining us.
I'm honored to be here, Sonia. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, you're not just a yoga teacher. You embody body positivity and spiritual wellness. What do those things mean to you?
To me, body positivity is to accept your body as it is right now, to say, I'm perfect today. And then from that place, from that sense of happiness, what can I do? What am I capable of? And spiritual wellness, I think, is something that I certainly was not taught to prioritize at all. I was taught to think about my physical health first, and that mental health, emotional health, they're pretty much irrelevant. But in my mind, to unite your physical health and your mental health and your emotional health is to experience your spiritual health. And it's not about any one component. It's not about any one day. And that we're all on this journey as individuals, the hero's journey, really, to understand ourselves. And that means that it's going to look a lot of different ways. Your body will look many different ways during the course of your life. But at the same time, there is a spirit that lives within that is eternal. And tapping into that space is really what I mean when I talk about that.
I mean, I agree. I think your spiritual wellness probably is the most important thing to keep into balance and help you in everyday life, especially for women and minorities. What stereotypes in the fitness and wellness community are you trying to dispel?
Oh my goodness. There's so many stereotypes about who is well, what wellness looks like. And traditionally, it's very white, it's very cisgender, it's very heterosexual, it's very thin, it's very wealthy. There's no inclusion of like the different pieces of all of us, the fact that we each rest at the center of so many different intersections. And I think that women and minorities really experience, anyone who is marginalized experiences that more than anyone. So being able to say, like, you know, as a fat Black queer person, someone who I've never seen myself represented in the mainstream, like to really say that I'm going to own my body, I'm going to accept my body, and I'm going to move forward from that place. That has become really crucial to me in my mission, because I think that if other people see that it's okay to be yourself and you don't have to be ashamed of who you are, that makes so much space for us as a society to grow and expand and for our world to change over time.
What hurdles would you say that you face while trying to dispel these stereotypes?
Oh my gosh, every hurdle. I think that in general, if you are going to do something that is against the status quo, if you're going to do something that the white misogynist patriarchy has not co-signed, then there are going to be a lot of hurdles. There's going to be a lot of people telling you no. There's going to be a lot of you don't deserve to be here. And I think that that's something I honestly, when I look back at my childhood, and I was bullied a lot when I was a kid, I just think of that as being really helpful experience for this part of my life, because it's all the same thing. Bullies bully for the same reason that they always have and will. It's coming from their own insecurity. And in the face of that kind of feedback, it's really interesting to see how we rise to the occasion and how we have to embody our own strength. And so that's something that has been really crucial for me, is understanding that the strength that I need to leap those hurdles lives within me, and that no one else is going to advocate for it. No one else is going to try to help me, that it's really got to be me leaning into myself.
Some people equate skinny with healthy, but that's not always true. So how would you define healthy?
Totally. I mean, skinny has been equated with healthy because of the medical industrial complex and a lot of ideas around obesity and what it means to carry weight on your body. But the reality is that you can be thin and be just as unhealthy as someone who is fat. And so I think there's a couple different things for us to look at, not just the fact that literally the number on the scale does not equate to your health, but in addition to that, what are all the components of health? Like, how is your mental health? How is your emotional health? And how are those things impacting your physical health? And also, we're talking about childhood, like, how does your childhood play into your health as an adult? And really looking at all of those different pieces, I think that when we minimize the conversation to be about physical health and we say that it's all about thinness, we're really only looking at one piece of the puzzle, so that people, and it's not inclusive of people who have eating disorders and people for whom being thin is a very complex issue and frequently a traumatizing issue. So I just think that there's a lot that we can do to expand the idea of healthy so that it's inclusive, yes, and inclusive of many different body types, but also so that it actually leads to us all being healthier together.
And something that you're doing that I absolutely love is that you're teaching naked yoga on OnlyFans now. How did the feeling of marginalization and exploitation help this idea come to fruition?
Having my content blocked on many major social media platforms was very instrumental for me. And this has happened to a lot of fat Black creators, that our content is frequently silenced in one way or another. And I had that happen for years. And I just thought, I think there's a point where you're supposed to say, okay, I'm just not going to make this content anymore. But what I've noticed about showing my physical body in all its glory, with clothing and without, is that it encourages and inspires people who don't look anything like me to own their bodies. And I just think that that mission in and of itself is too powerful. It's too good to be limited anywhere. And I think that if I had not been marginalized, I wouldn't have gotten to that point. And it feels like it's something that I think about a lot when we talk about power and strength and like finding your power. I always feel like the font of your power is in your wounds. It's always in the hardest thing. The worst thing that has happened to you is actually the best thing that has happened to you in one way or another. So it's a big thing for me. And I always thought that OnlyFans is the coolest platform because you can put literally anything on there. The creators who are on OnlyFans are so interesting and really doing something that I don't see happening on a lot of other platforms. And so I feel really excited to bring my yoga practice there and to be a part of a community that is, I think, the most creative corner of the internet.
And what message are you hoping to send through that platform?
You are perfect today, that you were made this way on purpose, that your life is important, that who you are, we cannot move forward as a species without you exactly as you are, and that you don't have to feel ashamed of yourself, and that everything about you is perfect.
And is that also a similar message that you feel like naked yoga can provide for someone? I mean, how can that type of yoga be positive and different than clothed yoga?
Totally. So naked yoga specifically is like you can get in touch with your body in a way that you really can't when you're wearing clothes. And I think, especially as a fat person, there are so many ways that I will use clothes to hide the parts of myself that I think are problematic or not that great. So like my belly, for instance, I'll like intentionally wear shirts that cover my belly or my arms and things like that. And so being able to really look at my body and feel my body and engage with it is a step in body acceptance that I think kind of gets papered over in the mainstream conversation about body positivity and body acceptance.
We want everyone to check out some of Jessamyn's yoga on her streaming wellness app. It's called The Underbelly, and it's especially great for those who don't feel represented or feel overlooked in the fitness community. And also don't forget to look for her book, Yoke, My Yoga of Self-Acceptance. Thank you once again, Jessamyn, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Sonia Baghdady. Thanks for watching and advocating. For more stories and content like this, visit advocatechannel.com.